Football only feels confusing for one reason. Not because the game is complicated, not because you're not paying attention, and not because you just don't get football. It feels confusing because nobody ever explained who's on the field and what their job is. Once you understand this one foundation, everything else you see starts to fall into place. So before we talk about plays, before we talk about rules, before we talk about strategy, we have to talk about the two roles on every team. Your favorite football team is made up of two sides, offense and defense. They wear the same colors, they represent the same team, but they never do the same job at the same time. Here's a fact that helps everything make sense. Your team will always have 11 players on the field at a time. You have 11 players on offense or 11 players on defense. The offense is never on the field at the same time as your defense, one at a time. When your team is on offense, their job is to score points. They are trying to move the ball forward, gain yards a little at a time, and eventually reach the end zone. This is when you'll see the quarterback making decisions, the running back pushing through the opposite team's defense, and the receivers catching the ball. Offense is about progress. Sometimes that progress is big. Sometimes it's just a few yards. But the goal is always the same. Move forward to make a touchdown. However, when your team is on defense, everything changes. Now their job is to stop the other team from moving forward, prevent them from scoring, force them to make mistakes, and get the ball back. Defense is about protection, keeping the other team away from the end zone. That's why defense often looks louder, more physical, and more aggressive. They're protecting the score, protecting field position, and protecting momentum. Here's the rule that unlocks the entire game. If your team has the ball, they're on offense. The offense has the plan. If the other team has the ball, your team is on defense. The defense stops the plan. That's it. When the ball changes teams, the responsibility changes. Not the players, not the goal of the game, just the role. Once you start watching football through this lens, you'll stop feeling lost and start anticipating what's coming next. Okay, let me give you a simple example. My team is the Green Bay Packers. Let's say your team is the Dallas Cowboys. When you see my quarterback, Jordan Love, out on the field, that's your cue the Packers are on offense. They're trying to move the ball and score, and the Cowboys are on defense trying to stop the Packers from scoring. Then the ball changes hands, and now you see your quarterback, Dak Prescott, come onto the field. That's when the Cowboys are on offense and the Packers are on defense trying to stop the Cowboys from scoring. Same field, same game, just switching roles. Think about a regular day at work. There are moments when you come in ready to check things off your list, send emails, finish projects, and make progress. You're operating in offense mode. You're pushing things forward. But then something interrupts the day. A system goes down, a mistake needs fixing, a client is unhappy, a deadline is at risk. Now you're not advancing. You're protecting. You're preventing loss. You're stabilizing the situation. You're holding things together. That's defense mode. Same job, same office, different responsibility. Football works the same way, and this is where faith ties in naturally. Because just like football, life moves in seasons. There are seasons when God places you on offense. You're building, you're moving forward, you're making ground and stepping into what's next. And then there are seasons when God shifts you to defense. Not because you're failing, but because something matters enough to protect, like your peace, your family, your health, your future. Scripture reminds us of this balance. Ecclesiastes chapter 3, verse 1 says, "For everything there is a season, a time for every activity under heaven. There's a time to advance, and there's a time to hold your ground." Wisdom is learning how to recognize the season you're in, so you don't force movement when protection is needed, and you don't stay guarded and stuck when it's time to move forward. So if you find yourself in a season of offense, move with confidence and clarity. And if you're in a season of defense, stand firm, knowing protection is part of the plan. Either way, the role you're in today is preparing you for what's next. And that's exactly how football works too. So the next time you watch a game, don't try to understand everything. Just ask one question. Does my team have the ball? If yes, they're on offense. If no, they're on defense. That one question will slow the game down for you and help everything make sense. In the next video, we're breaking down what actually happens once the play starts, so you can follow the action with confidence. Subscribe, hit the bell, and comment which season you're currently in. Offense, I'm moving forward, or defense, I'm protecting. So I know you're learning the game the Fourth and Fierce way. This is Fourth and Fierce. Football, faith, for her.